Hello, everybody, and welcome to a First Friday lunch, actually Second Friday lunch, because last week I was at my cabin with my husband and we were finishing the roof on our garage out there that we're going to turn into kind of a bunkhouse, like for extra seating for like dinners, and then maybe some cots and stuff for when we have multiple guests. So, because if I have just my family, my nuclear family, plus grandchildren, that's like 8 people. So it needs to get done. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Tina Holland. I write romance in all the subgenres, and I have a couple of short stories out as K Max. And every first Friday of the month, we get together and we talk about, what I've got going on in my personal life, what's going on with the writing world, what I'm reading and writing, and those sorts of things. So this one, because it's Second Friday, is going to be kind of more of a coffee chat. So we'll talk a little bit more about personal stuff and writing stuff and that sort of thing. So let's dive into it. So personally, we are working on end of year stuff. We are done working our crop dusting business. So now it's kind of like me getting back into writing mode. I just came back from retreat, which is why I missed last week's, because I just got back on the 1st from Washington and seeing my friend A. Catherine Noon, also a writer, and we retreat every year. We rotated around the country. Next year we'll be in the Southwest, where Rachel Wilder and then another one of the unpublished writers in the group lives. So we try, it goes Northwest, Southwest, and then every 5 years it's supposed to come to the Midwest. So, and I'm the only person in the Midwest. So that was one of the reasons we made that rule, was because, well, we'll just rotate it every 5 years to me, because most everybody lives in the Northwest or the Southwest. So we have 2 people that live in the Northwest. We have 2 people that live in the Southwest. And so a few years ago, we just decided to rotate it between those 2 locations just to make everything easier for people. So maybe if we get more members from the Midwest, we'll come out here more, or the Northeast or Southeast or wherever, right? Anyway, so I just got back from that. Really good. Finished. Actually, we'll dive into writing stuff in a little bit. So let's go on to the next item. So what am I reading and watching? I just finished Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros in the graphic audio form, which if you don't, I really like it because I sort of like the sound effects, and I like the little, she has like these little lead-ins right before the chapter breaks of other people, like their writings and stuff. So you get to hear other voices and stuff like that. So I will say this, if I find authors that I like, or maybe even want to try, but I'm not sure on the audiobook, I might go to graphic audio, just because I really, really do like the radio sound of it, all the different sounds effects. So I've finished reading that. Watching, no, I'm watching. I'm waiting for some of the new stuff to kick off on CBS and stuff like that. I'm very into Bull, which I'm watching old episodes of that. At the lakes, we're watching we're watching 3 different things at lakes, because I own the DVD sets. So we're watching X-Files, Supernatural, and then Charmed. The old Charmed, not the new Charmed. And so we kind of rotate through those down at the lakes. Normally it's a Star Trek thing down there, but we're kind of have gone through all of our Star Trek stuff. So Sunday, I'm going into town and I'm going to try out this place, Electric Underground, which sells like DVDs, games, game consoles, all that kind of stuff. And I was telling my friend Crystal, I would really, really like to go check it out. So we're going to go do that. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm watching. I'm still waiting for the new season. I'm just started Amazing Race this season because I'm kind of into that. I've started High Potential, but I'm like backlogged because I've been gone now for 2 weeks. And what else have I been watching? Ghosts, that hasn't started yet, and Elspeth. And Tracker. Those are kind of like my big, and Watson. Those are like the big shows that I try and catch or whatever. So everything else I just catch later on DVD, or it doesn't interest me, or I'm writing or doing something else. So that's what I've got going on there. Okay, so that kind of leads into the writing part of it. So I just got back from this retreat. I am doing an interview on Monday with Nodakian Studios, my friend Shelly, at like 10 a.m. and I think it's going to be recorded and then go on to Dakota Public Access. So I'm kind of excited. We're going to be slinging clay because she kind of runs like this talk show where people are making clay things. So that ought to be interesting. I'm trying to decide what to wear because I'm like, how dirty am I going to get? Should I wear something that's like easily washable? Will it stain? I'm thinking it won't because it's clay, but maybe depends on maybe the clay because I bet some of that stuff stains. So that's something I'll be doing on Monday. Tonight I have a signing with the Moorhead Friends Writing Group at the First Avenue Market. And so I'm going to be down there with them. It was originally just my signing spot, but we're kind of having a fundraiser because last weekend, Chris Stenson, the leader of the group, went to Monster Fest in Minot, and his Denali and the U-Haul trailer that he had rented to haul all of our stuff out there was stolen. And they did recover the Denali. They did not recover the U-Haul trailer. And if you see a U-Haul, like the smallest model, I think, the license plate is a Georgia license plate, ALE, so ALE, and then 70521, I believe, are the last four digits. But it is up on social media. So if you happen to see that from the Moorhead Friends Writing Group or me or anybody else, please share it just so we can, bring these people to justice. And then also, I think it would be very nice for people to get some of these books back so we don't have to purchase it. I just told Chris we're supposed to do an event in New York Mills next weekend, Minnesota. And I told him what I have. And I also have like a rack to display books. I have that. And so I just kind of told him, let me know what you need or whatever, and I can bring it. But we have that event next weekend. Maybe, because I don't think if he doesn't have enough inventory, I don't think we're going to do the event. So I think that'll be a deciding factor is whether he's got enough inventory. So, and he's in Minneapolis this weekend. So, and I think he just got a shipment of books of his own titles. So hopefully he's bringing those, but I think he's on the road right now, driving down to Minneapolis for, is it a horror con or something? It's a bunch, and it might just be a writing event. Maybe it's not a selling event. I don't know. So he's down there for that. And the rest of us will be holding down the fort up at First Avenue Market. So if you're in the Fargo Moorhead area and you want to come out and support us, I welcome you to come to First Avenue Market tonight. From 5 to 9 is when I will be there. And I also believe they're doing the haunted tours downtown. Those can be a little pricey, but I heard it's quite worth it. So if you are in the area, go ahead and do that. So, and then lastly, the only other thing that I have got coming up is I'm going to be at Author Nation in November, like the first weekend in November for signing books or whatever at Reader Nation. And that's going to be Friday, I think it's the 7th. I got to look here. I think it's the 7th is Reader Nation. So if you live in the Las Vegas area, you'll want to go out to the signing store, part of Reader Nation, and order my books because they are available there for $9.99. And that's the only place you're going to get them that cheap. And I leave them in the store so you could buy them later in the year or whatever. But I'm not going to have any. I don't believe I will have any inventory at my table. I was going to bring stuff, but I think Chris is going to need all my inventory to restock. So which I don't have that much left, but I will, if you guys order, I will go ahead and sign stuff. I may order some of my titles just so I can bring them back or have stuff at my table. I wasn't going to, but I might do that. So we'll see. So that's going to be the 7th. And then the next thing is the only other thing that I've got kind of going on is writing wise. I did not get How to Love a Lord, but it is done, and I have to go and give it back to my editor, maybe, and find some beta readers for it. So, but yeah, it's done. I got almost done. I think I got 5 sentences. I got to finish up the end part of it and kind of clean it up a little. But I think I'm going to dump it into Atticus today yet. Maybe tomorrow. I might end up doing all this tomorrow since I have that signing tonight at 5. But I'm going to do that and then see how long it is. I've also picked up some work from my friend Tristan I have to retitle his book or whatever in Atticus. So I picked up some VA work. So I think that's it. But I think I'm gonna be writing in November because I'm gonna have this book done. And so yeah, Love of Lord will be going out before the end of the month. I may even have it up for sale in November, possibly the end of this month. So it will really depend on whether or not I send it back to my editor. But I want to at least get the book going. I was trying to get it finished so that it would be uploaded for Author Nation. And but that had to be done by October 1st, and I was still finishing it up. I did manage to finish up the book at Founders Retreat. I got a lot of work done. I think I wrote over 3,000 words I added to it, and a lot of the feedback from my editor was like deep POV and stuff. So now I'm kind of at a quandary if I should send it back to her or not, because I sent her How to Marry a Major twice. I did the first round of edits, then we did the second round, and then she kicked it back to me, and I changed the whole story. So because originally Charlotte was a spy, or he thought she was a spy, but it got to be too hard to keep track of. And there's some stuff in this one as well that my editor has issue with. But I'm like, I think it's okay. I think I fixed all the things that she has issue with. So I still struggle with titles though, it seems to me, and I could be totally wrong, like when you have a Lord Bob of Storybrooke, he can be called Lord Bob, Lord Storybrooke, right? But most often he's called Lord Storybrooke. But it always seems like ladies, if you had Lady Esther of Storybrooke, she's always called Lady Esther, but not Lady Storybrooke. But I might be wrong, but it feels like that when I'm reading it. And I think in the first one, it might be over formalized. And in the second one, it's not. So I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I will just leave it and then give it to her and then let her fix those. And then I'll just do the rest of the stuff myself. So just to make sure those titles are correct. The entailments, I got some issues around, but I think it's okay because the issues around his birth are secret. And I've seen that a few places, but she is kind of a stickler for that sort of thing, which is why I hired her, because I wanted to make sure that it worked really well. And then also my beta readers, a few of them are historians, so that helps as well to get stuff kind of sorted out. I have to go in and add some dates, but I'm hoping to get that done. I think I'll get it done tomorrow and dump it into Atticus and start formatting and sending it out to beta readers. Plus, I just need to see how long the thing is so I can give the paperback edition to my cover artist and she can do the wrap for me and we can get that done. So I think that is all I have to have for you guys today. Kind of short and sweet. Like I said, it's just kind of a coffee chat. I can't think of anything else I've got going on. The only other thing, let me know in the comments if you guys are having this. We have got a huge Asian beetle infestation in my house. It's huge. They're like all over. We have like when you come in the back door, technically it's our front door because our front door, there used to be a driveway in the front, and because we have a minimum maintenance road behind us, and that used to be the main road when this farm was built. Now we have an actual highway further to the east of us, and then we kind of pull in from the east. That's where our new driveway is, but the new driveway has been there for like, I think 40, 50 years. So we pull in, and then in the back room, I just have ladybugs everywhere, or these Asian beetles. And I just learned, I did not know this. I just learned that the Asian lady beetle are the orange ones. And the ladybugs that are indigenous to the United States are the red ones. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I've maybe only seen a red ladybug a handful of times in my lifetime. So I'm like, that I remember. And I don't normally care. I was like, oh, okay, they're whatever. But they came off like these soybean fields before the soybeans died, and literally were like bloated with aphids probably, because they literally came off fields into the and they sneak in like the smallest of cracks, like this. You wouldn't think there's any space here. Oh yeah, they get in there. They just climb right in. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So like if you pull the picture frames away from the wall, they're all stacked behind the picture frame. And I'm like, oh my God. And so my husband's just like, I'm just going to vacuum them up. So and they bite, which I didn't know. I'd never been bitten by an orange ladybug before, but I was like, okay. So just so you know, if you see an orange one, that's an Asian beetle. And they were actually brought over to like for organic crop stuff and gardeners and stuff. They were brought over in like the 90s, like the late 80s, early 90s, and now they're kind of here. So but they will push out the actual red ladybug, the indigenous ladybug. So yeah, we're gonna vacuum them up. And when my husband's kind of done, he's out at the cabin. Like we just finished the roof this last weekend, and or this week actually, but we were working on it last weekend, and he's basically going out today to pick up the rest of the scaffolding and some of the trash. So yeah, and then we gotta probably start doing day trips out there because we got to bring in our pontoon and we got to bring in the dock and the pontoon lift and that kind of stuff. So we're like, we always do that like really late. Like we're like November people, like, oh, it's going to ice over next weekend. So we got to get the thing. So we're standing out there cold, bringing stuff in with our winch, you know? So, oh, well, whatever. But yeah, another thing that I did is it's kind of like, it does seem like it's sort of like conference, festival, writing retreat things. It seems like there's a lot of that stuff going on. I just went, before I went to Washington, I went to the Jack Pines Writer Block retreat seminar that they had for one day the weekend before in the Smoky, well, now it's the Jack Pines Resort, but I took some pictures and it was really, really nice. And the class was actually really good. I'm always happy when I can go to a class and I learn something, because when you've been in the business for 20 years, like I have, it's kind of, it's been a while. So it's like sometimes I'm not always taught new things because I sort of have my writing process down. I don't really deviate from that because that's what helps me get a book done. But you know that it doesn't seem like I can always learn new things, and I did, which was really nice. And it was like craft related, because I'm very resistant to craft related learning, just because, like I said, I have a process. I kind of want to stick with it. So, but yeah, learn new things. Yay. So that was good. What else? What else has been going on? What was the other thing I was going to say? I was going to tell, oh, I almost forgot. Every Thursday this month in October, I've been teaching my FEARS class. And FEARS is an acronym for finish the book, edit the book, analyze the book, research publishers, and submit to publishers. So we ran last week, it was finish and edit. This week, or yesterday, it was analyze. Next week is research publishers. And then the last week will be, then it'll be submit. And then I have like an extra one because there was 5 weeks. And since I doubled up the first one, we're just going to talk the very basics of self-publishing. Now, what I am going to do is I am going to post these because I had to record them for BizMan for people who wouldn't be able to attend. In November, when I'm all done teaching, I'm going to post them on, well, I might actually do it before just so that the students can access. I'll be posting them on YouTube. So I will probably keep the link private. But if you are a member, you'll probably get notified that I've uploaded some videos, and that's kind of what it is. So it's this class that I've been teaching. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them on the YouTube channel or wherever I place that video, and we'll get your questions answered. So, but yeah, it's been a class that I've really enjoyed teaching, and I love it when people come to learn about the publishing business. I've had to change it a little bit over the years, because it used to be very much geared towards traditional and small press publishing. And now there's a little more indie self-publishing in there, because there aren't as many small presses. Actually, I don't want to say there's very few, but they've been unable to stay sustainable in the rise of indie publishing. And a lot of times you'll see publishers like Morehead Friends Writing Group, like you'll see like that, or Jack Pines Writer Block also does like their own publishing. So you might see something like that, where a group of people can take on the project, but not necessarily a publishing house, because once you do edits and cover art, that costs kind of go down a lot. So for a publisher, because they have to pay the cover artist and they have to pay the editors. So, and depending on how their formulas are set up, when I was with Liquid Silver, it was set up that the cover artist, and I don't know if they got a flat rate up front, but I know they got a percentage of the sales. So as my book sold, the editor would get paid and the cover artist would get paid a percentage. In Resplendence and Book Boutiques, both of those, at least the editor or the cover artists were they were paid a flat price for the project, so they owned that. So that was a cost they had to do, and sometimes that was the more expensive cost. And then editors, I'm not sure how the editors were paid. They may have been paid flat at both of those as well. So although at Book Boutiques, we only had copy edits, and most of my stuff that went through there was already published, so it was pretty clean to begin with. So there was copy edits, except with the exception of, well, they did mostly copy editing. So on all that stuff, I made sure it went through critique group just to be clean. So what I've done basically is with this fears class, I've tailored some stuff around how to utilize what I'm teaching for if you're going to be an indie person. So that was kind of my little spiel there. So, all right. Well, I think I've taken up enough of your time today, but thank you so much for listening to me and visiting me on Second Friday Lunch. So the next First Friday Lunch will actually also be a Second Friday Lunch, and it is going to be November 14th at 11:30. And that's because I'm going to be at Reader Nation the weekend before, and I can't run this stream. I mean, I could, but it would probably be like, hey, here I am at Reader Nation. So we'll just do it the week after the 14th, kind of like we're doing today. So once again, that's November 14th at 11:30 a.m. and Central Standard Time. So go ahead and pencil me in for lunch.